why don't I go eat some hay? Make some things out of clay and lay by the bay? I just may. What do you say? Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 144. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. I am your host, the Mayor, Jeff Hornacek. And before we get into it with the movie discussion, let's go around and meet the fellow bros joining me tonight. It is the familiar cast of characters, and we start in the lab with the mad scientist Brian Banner. Banner, based on your scientific expertise and your own mathematic calculations, was Happy Gilmore's putt on the 18th hole of the Tour Championship, where he ricocheted off about 15 different objects to win, probable?
Give me just a second. Hold on. 17 squared, carry the 1. Yeah, I mean, it's very probable. I would say it's got a 67.32% chance of going in.
Is it the most unrealistic thing in that movie that they make him play it where it lies? Like, think if that rule was the case, you could just, like, drop your bag in front of the other guy.
A couple of years after that movie came out, literally 8 fans moved a huge rock in front of Tiger's ball so he could hit it.
If that's the case, then when the other guy's on the green, like, just bring, like, trash cans and shit and drop it in front of him. Like, whatever. That voice you just heard was our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Now, Geiger, who was a celebrity where if you were paired with them in a pro-am, you would definitely end up kicking the shit out of each other, similar to the way Happy and Bob Barker did?
You know, I'm not a mean person by nature, and I know a lot of these celebrities are people, so I don't want them to die, but there is one that if he did, I wouldn't shed a tear, and that's Luke Bryant. Because he's made so much shitty music that I've had to endure working at bars and being in bars over the years that I would love to just fight him for like 30 minutes and roll down a hill.
He would definitely talk in your backswing.
For sure. And then whenever I'd be like, you want to go outside? He'd be like, come on. Literally, that's all he says throughout his entire songs. I let my wife know that, and now she's like, every time I watch Luke Bryant live, you like ruined it for me.
He's like, when you think of the stereotype, the guy that only sings about like blue jeans and cold beer.
He is bro country. Like the type of, I don't mind country, but he's like the type of country I can't stand.
And he probably sucks at golf too.
Yeah,
He probably tries to give you tips in your backswing.
Yeah, while you're like 7 strokes ahead.
He's the guy me and Thurman hate. The one that just scored a triple bogey and then on the next hole is going to give you swing advice.
Love it. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. All right. Well, if you have not listened to our show before, we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. And as of this recording, we're about 8 days after, but on February 16th of this year, Happy Gilmore, the film, turned 25 years old, which is absolutely insane to me. And as bros, we wanted to go back and revisit it, talk about some of our favorite moments, how it's held up over the years, and its legacy within the film community. And then Geiger had a special idea where we would each present our top 3 sports comedy movies of all time to pay homage to it. I'm assuming, I guess if Happy Gilmore's on your list, that's okay, but I didn't include it on mine. Did you guys do that? Or is it maybe on your list?
I think the only person's listed to be on is Banners.
You don't have to. He doesn't have to spoil it.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
It's not.
Hey, you really like this movie?
I do really.
I thought you really,
but it is not on my list. No.
Okay, I thought you really. I mean, it's fine, but I thought Banner was like, I love this movie. Sorry. Continue, Jeff.
Well, now before we get started, I have a few bullet points as on a rewatch that from the other day that I just noticed about the movie and I thought would be fun to talk about. But let's just go back 25 years later, Matt. What do you remember about Happy Gilmore? What is the film's legacy in your mind?
I mean, it's a top tier sports movie for sure. Just like sports comedy. Sorry. The premise of it is so ridiculous, yet it makes sense because hockey players are really good golfers. Just because of the rotational, they're hitting on the same plane, just like, you know, baseball players typically aren't good golfers just because they're hitting on a completely different plane. But the premise of him like running when he's hitting it on every shot, if it was just the driver, I would think the way Bryson DeChambeau is right now, I'm surprised he hasn't tried this. But everything about this movie is honestly fucking great. with Carl Weathers as Chubbs Peterson, which is something I remembered, but I totally forgot how great he was in it as this tutor, who was like a guy that used to be good, then an alligator bit off his hand when he's trying to look
in the hips.
Oh, because you're black? No. What?
Hell
Alligator
no.
bit my hand off. It's like, right.
And the chick from Modern Family is fucking great in this. You get some Happy Madison people that were kind of lifers, like Doug, who runs the PGA Tour. Shooter McGavin is fucking great in this. This movie actually holds up. I'll talk about my top 3 later. As a big golf fan, I consider this a golf movie. However, it's not better than some of the other golf movies I've seen, but it is really good.
Quick side note here. Shooter McGavin defend a villain?
I was thinking about that as I was watching it. In defense of villains, he might have a shot on there. I think Matt and Thurmond would be staunch defenders of him. The guy is just trying to win a tour fucking championship, and this sideshow bursts on the scene.
What's funny is, I mean, you guys remember when this came out. I remember watching this when I was in elementary school with my older cousins. But the premise is not as funny anymore because this is before Tiger came on the scene, and now tour events are like that. I mean, there's probably beach balls and people are just there to get drunk and party and shit. Like back in the day, it was basically kind of like what the Masters still is. It's uptight, old, rich people that, you know, have a stick up their ass pretty much.
Right. Yeah, it's not like, is it the Waste Management Open in Phoenix?
Yeah.
God
big
damn,
party
that's
one.
a goddamn fucking crazy
the Byron
party.
Nelson in Dallas is a big party one too.
Yeah.
I don't even think Dustin Johnson's wife allows him at either of those events anymore. Banner, how about you? 25 years later from Happy Gilmore, what do you remember of the movie?
I remember this being probably one of, I'll say 3, just because I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, of Adam Sandler movies that actually hold up that I continually like at every point in my life. And this was before he got all crazy. I'm just going to do these silly voices all the fucking time. But I really like it. Very quotable movie as well.
Yeah.
We forget how quotable this movie is.
When I have a bullet point coming up, like, what is your favorite quote from it? And I was just writing them down as I was going through the movie. And there were some brilliant ones that I had to leave off my list just because I was like, well, now I'm just writing War and Peace. Like, this is too long. So let's go through a few of the notes I had. And if this obviously triggers anything in your mind, go back and or bring it up. This movie is currently on HBO Max streaming. So I watched it yesterday. My first thing is just kind of piggybacking off Banner's voice. Adam Sandler angry to me is way funnier than Adam Sandler trying to do weird voices. And Matt, I know you'll agree. Like, this is the Adam Sandler I like when he gets mad all the time.
Yeah, and that used to be kind of his call. Like Billy Madison, he wasn't really mad, but he was good in that too. But not Mr. Deeds, Big Daddy, like he gets pissed off a lot.
But Mr. Deeds too, he beats the shit out of anybody who makes fun of his cards.
He basically had a stint where he played like just real life people, just in kind of stupid scenarios or something that probably wouldn't happen, but it was good. And then he went to a stint to be like playing characters that aren't real at all. And no one's ever met anyone like that with even stupider concepts that usually take place in Hawaii or wherever he wants to vacation that time.
Yeah. I think I get like not wanting to be typecast or pigeonholed as only playing like the same guy, but I think that would be better than being known like Little Nicky. Just thinking of the voice he does in that film makes me cringe. Yeah.
Honestly, I know this is all time, but go rewatch The Waterboy. It's not as good. Like his voice in that, I'm like, I can't do this.
I watched it and it was on TNT like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I watched the next commercial and it wasn't as good as I remembered it. I'll give him that.
No.
Everyone else in it's great. Like Henry Winkler's great, Kathy Bates is great in it, but him, I'm like, I can take or leave him.
What is Henry Winkler not great in though?
It's true. We were on his dick pretty hard during what was it, Jeff?
Scream. Now, Banner, one of my favorite moments is when Happy goes to the putt-putt course at the end and the clown spits the ball back and he's laughing. He's like, look, he's having a good time. And then he walks up and destroys him. That's to me like Adam Sandler at his funniest. The dude is about to snap, and you just can't wait to see it happen.
Yeah, he's kind of like watching The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. You can see the crazy in their eyes. You're just waiting and anticipating for them to show their true colors and release the beast.
My next bullet point I had is Ben Stiller's cameo as the attendant at the nursing home. I guess it's a little more than a cameo, but to me, I think it's one of the top 3 most hilarious ancillary roles I've ever seen in my life.
Who on is it Thurman or somebody? Whenever someone says, he's like, "What's that?"
Mr. Gilmore, what a tremendous looking trophy!
He's like so nice, and then he just he's gonna like
handmade,
kill those old people.
This is handmade quality shit we're talking about here.
You just pulled landscaping duty.
And he's gonna have that 90-year-old go out and, like, fucking shovel roots.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He'll kill him there. And not to spoil Hubie Halloween, but the best part of Hubie Halloween is him reprising this character.
That's true, yeah.
It's like the only funny part in it.
He's great in it. There's some cut scenes that sometimes they'll show on TV. I don't know if they'll show on HBO Max, where actually Adam Sandler does beat the shit out of him, because in the theatrical version or the DVD version, he doesn't. And it's always like he kicks the shit out of everyone except for the person that he really needs to.
Who deserves it the most, yeah. I just have to say, I don't care what the scene was. It's criminal anyone in the editing room who cut any of Ben Stiller's character from this thing.
It's so fucking good.
How do you take that out? Banner, any thoughts on whatever the guy's name is who runs the nursing home?
No, I have to agree with you. As far as I don't want to say a throwaway character or a cameo, but somewhere in the middle there. Yeah, it's probably one of the best supporting roles.
And I think we have a large
news. I'm increasing arts and crafts time by 4 hours today.
My fingers hurt. I think we can all agree Ben Stiller with a mustache usually is some of his most hilarious roles.
Fu Manchu, like a Hulk Hogan.
Dodgeball, and then heavyweights, of course. Rocking some sort of a mustache. Another thing I want to comment on, Julie Bowen as just the side characters and who stood out to you, but Julie Bowen as, of course, Virginia Bennett. Matt already mentioned Carl Weathers as Chubbs, and then Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin, which, yes. I mean, this is obviously the role of his career. He was in the Leave It to Beaver movie a few years later, but he played Beaver's dad, so like a straight-laced role. I mean, this is obviously his career maker, right? Like, he could probably go around to tour events for the rest of his life and just sign autographs as Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, I can't... he's not in too much else. He's in this movie called The Pinch, which is, or something like that, which is like a golf movie on the Golf Channel, which is terrible. But other than that, yeah, he's made his life off Shooter McGavin.
Did you guys see whenever it was the 25th anniversary and Adam Sandler tweeted out him doing the Happy Gilmore, and then Shooter responded to him?
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking good.
Did he do the...
Shooter still looks good.
He looks great. You can tell he's had a few scotches, but aside from that, who hasn't?
Yeah, I have. He got a DUI actually a few years ago.
Wow.
I remember Barstool.
Again, who hasn't?
Barstool tweeted about it. They were like, have we no shame? How do you pull over Shooter McGavin? The Bob Barker cameo, again, has to be one of the best cameos ever in a comedy movie, based on both what they did with him and surprisingly how good Bob Barker was in the movie. Wouldn't you agree, Brian? Like, he doesn't come across as some old dude. He's like actually pretty well adept to act with Adam Sandler in the film.
I would agree with that. And just the fact that he was on such a well-known and long-standing show, game show, and that he was game to do that kind of scene with Adam Sandler is even more of a testament to the legend of Bob Barker.
I have stay tuned, kids, because there's a trivia question about that.
Ooh, the way he says "bitch" is one of the most ridiculous parts of the film.
That's probably the most ridiculous part of that movie. I remember watching that. I was like, "Why is the Price is Right guy on here? Like, what the hell's going on?"
But when you get older, you kind of realize, like, yeah, dude, if I was in a pro-am and my pro was the one fucking us over,
but
I'd be.
It makes sense because Pebble Beach. I mean, that's what they do is the pro-am every year. So that does make sense. that is a real tournament. I couldn't believe they put this in this movie and they got Bob Barker to do it.
Because, like, I mean, he's historically donated so much to charity. You know, he's like this really nice guy, and he probably had a blast coming in. Like, yeah, dude, we just want you to be a huge asshole the whole time.
Apparently, he had one condition, and that I guess he was training with Chuck Norris, like Bob Barker, like martial arts. He's like, I have to win. And,
the fight.
Yeah. I guess Adam Sandler, of course. Well, I'm gonna win because you're Bob Barker. So, and then he's like, actually, no. It would probably be funnier if I was a badass and Bob Barker just kicks the shit out of me.
And then he's walking off like practicing more punches. Like, dude, the other guy has a bloodlust. He needs to fight again. All right, favorite
like, there
quote.
is no way you're as bad as hockey as you are at golf.
Yeah, there it, bitch. All right, favorite quote. Here's a couple that I had. If this is one of yours, speak up for it. But there's too many, so I probably missed it. Your back hurts. Your fingers hurt. Well, now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty. Another great Ben Stiller one. Now you will go to sleep. Bro,
I will put you to sleep.
The Price is Wrong, bitch, is obviously a great one.
Yeah.
One that I've used a lot in real life is you eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
Everybody uses that in real life. And it's great.
You're pretty sick, Chubbs, is like a classic. And Brainer, I know you used to say that all the time in college.
Yeah, that's a staple of mine.
When he fucks up, he turns to his caddy and goes, "Where were we on that one, dipshit?" The blonde kid who doesn't know what he's doing. And then one of my favorites, when he gets pranked on the 9th green at 10 o'clock or whenever, and he's walking off and he talks to Julie Bowen. He just randomly goes, "Hey, my girlfriend's dead, you know. She fell off a cliff and died on impact." It doesn't have anything to do with what they were talking about. How about you, Matt? Any of those your favorite, or is there one that I missed that has always stuck?
When he starts singing to his ex-girlfriend or whatever, and the Asian lady comes up, and then he wakes up in the morning and she's wearing his hockey jersey. Is just, I know that's not a quote, but that's fucking. It's like, oh, you don't want breakfast?
Yeah, she wants to pour him like Captain Crunch. Where are you going?
Might as well bang her. She's already made her way up here.
Yeah, she did the work to walk upstairs.
When he says like, I didn't break it, I just knew it was made of wood, so I thought it should be with his family. That was fucking hilarious too.
I was redirecting it into the woods. Here comes the putter throw. Brian, how about you?
I always like the could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? You could trouble me for a glass of shut the hell up.
Another really good one is when he steps into the batting cage and he's just wearing fastballs. And one hits him in the face.
Oh, that one hurt a little bit.
Oh, that hurt, but it kind of felt good.
Kevin Nealon in this is fucking fantastic too.
Yeah, I think like some of his best roles. I know he hasn't had a ton of them, but this and Grandma's Boy, both Happy Madison.
Yeah, great
films.
on Saturday Night Live.
And he kind of plays. I guess in Grandma's Boy, he kind of plays the same character, right? He plays like the CEO of the company, who's like super granola and vegan and like the tantric sex. I mean, I know the answer to this question.
Psycho.
Maybe Matt hasn't done this, but Brian, I mean, how many times in your life have you tried successfully to do the Happy Gilmore tee shot?
So define successfully. Like I hit the ball?
And you were able to play your second shot. It wasn't OB, you're on the freeway.
Like maybe twice? I mean, I try it at least twice every time I go golfing, so...
Yeah. It's one of the most fun things to do, to just try and fucking run up and smash a golf ball. Now, Matt, you're more of a golf purist. Is this anything you typically like to fuck around with? Maybe at a driving
I haven't
range?
tried it in years. I mean, now when you're a kid, you do because the movie was red hot, but I guess that movie doesn't come to my mind as much. I did play in a Happy Gilmore scramble where one hole is a par 5. You had to tee off like Happy Gilmore. And then on the green was a hockey stick, and it was a 4-putt max. And it's so hard. Like, it's impossible to putt a ball with a hockey stick.
Well, he cheats because he almost like guides the ball. Like,
yeah.
Like drags it.
That was kind of a cool thing too, how he putt, because you could putt hockey style. I mean, people putt stupider ways, put it that way.
It's the exact opposite of the belly putter, right? He like chokes up down to the fucking club head. His like face is like in the green. oddly enough, so Happy's place in this movie, when he's trying to putt, looks a lot like mine. Julie Bowen in lingerie, and then several pitchers of beer.
A midget riding a stick horse.
Yeah, and his grandma winning the slot machines.
And Chubb's playing the piano. Hey, look, I've got my hand back.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Hey, Happy.
And then Shooter McGavin shows up and starts making out with her when he's not putting well. He's like,
Yeah.
fuck no. Another question I have, Matt, how much do you think Subway paid for the product placement in this movie? Because I forgot, but on a rewatch, dude, they are all over this thing.
Yeah, see, from a small town, I didn't even really know what a Subway was, but this is kind of when Subway took off and really franchised all over the place.
I mean, he works there, like in the beginning, he's like, or no, he knows.
No, he knows a guy that worked at Subway.
So they got extra.
He got extra meatballs, and then he gets the sponsorship from Subway and eats 2 cold cut combos to keep him strong every day.
And
he was Jared Fogle before Jared Fogle.
Yes, he gets that card that gives him free Subway for life, which just makes me want to throw up thinking about it.
God, remember when Subway used to be like good, like you actually wanted it?
Remember when they used to have like Ryan Howard as their spokesperson when he was like actually
Mike Trout?
Yeah. What the fuck happened? Banner, what are your thoughts on the money Subway had to fork over for this thing?
I mean, I don't really remember Subway prior to this movie, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I feel like they put all their eggs in this basket and it paid off for them. They had to have, right?
Yeah, and looking at this, like their logo really has not changed in 25 years. No. I mean, it looks exactly the same.
And I mean, Happy Gilmore was probably something better to support than a child molester, right?
They didn't know at the time.
Oh, please. They do background checks on those people all the time.
His story, Jared Fogle's story, was just too good to pass up. Worth the risk. Next thing I had is anything more bro than prepping for hockey season by kicking a kid out of a batting cage so you can stand in there and just wear fastballs off the chest? That will go to you first. Like, he doesn't even have a bat in his hands. Like, I don't need that.
I forgot the kid goes in there afterwards and tries to and just gets smoked in the face.
Knocked out.
It's like, hey, I got a hockey record. I'm the only guy that ever took off his skate try to stab somebody. So
no one else ever did that. When at the tryout in the beginning, the guy's like, "Oh, did I not call your name?" And he falls for it.
Like, called your name, didn't I?
No, you didn't. Let me double check. And then they laugh at him. He's like, "Oh, that's funny. We're having a good time."
Better luck next year.
And then I love how the whole reason for like hitting himself in the face with fastballs is like, I need to get tougher for next hockey tryouts. Like, dude, the reason you didn't make the team wasn't because you weren't tough enough. That's definitely not the issue.
I forgot his boss too, Mr. Larson with the nail on his head, who he's in the original God damn it, the football movie with Burt Reynolds. Yard. And he's hilarious in this too. He's like, hey, you could hardly even notice the nail in your head. He has a "guns don't kill people, I kill people" t-shirt.
Right. He's so respectful too. He's like, Mr. McGavin.
Yeah.
I believe you left
the
this.
shooter.
Good. So you can count. Oh my God. Yeah, and then the ball being on his foot, play it where it lies. Like, that's a fucking
you
constant in the
galley. Waiting for you in the parking lot.
Forgot about that. I love the dude too who's like obsessed with Shooter McGavin, who he just calls anytime he wants him to injure Happy.
Oh yeah,
like, you want to go to Red Lobster? I'm not hungry. Okay, well, I'll be there if you change your mind.
God bless.
Fucking pathetic. Banner, one thing I also wanted to point out, and I've always loved this about you, Matt, I don't know if you remember this, but Brian used to have clubs just like Happy's, like legitimate wooden woods.
Nice. I still use them. I still have a 3-wood, or it's a 4-wood in my bag right now. I can hit it straight down the fucking pipe about 180 yards every time.
But you were like straight up Ben Hogan style, like your whole set was like wood woods. And
probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I had most of my clubs are still wooden.
Which I respect the hell out of that.
It's awesome, Banner. Good for you.
It's probably why I have like an 80-yard slice on like a regular driver now.
Yeah, that's the only reason. But then what's the reason that I have an 80-yard slice?
Well, you play out of my bag a lot.
That's right. Last thing that I had, and Matt, you kind of already spoke to this, but best golf movie, this or Caddyshack? I gotta be honest, I've rewatched both of them in the past year. I think I like Happy Gilmore more. Now, as a pure golf movie, I think Caddyshack is, I don't want to say more purist, but this kind of lampoons the sport. But I laugh harder at Happy Gilmore than I do at Caddyshack. And maybe that's a generational thing, but again, I'm partial to the generation I grew up in. Matt, I think I know what your answer will be, but how about you?
Just stay tuned for my top 3.
It's just good podcasting. Wow. Great podcasting. Banner, what do you think? Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. I think Caddyshack has a lot more layers to it and is probably a better film. But Happy Gilmore is just so much fucking fun. And it's so ridiculous. It's just... You're not crazy. I'm not going to say you're right, but you're not crazy.
Matt, you might have said this on our Caddyshack movie commentary, which you guys should go check out. But I think Caddyshack was to like people who worked at a golf course what waiting was to the service industry.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Which I don't know why.
I like it too because it's the only movie about us playing golf. Like all the other golf movies are about professionals. Like this is about like just a country club, just your normal, single digit, double digit handicap or whatever. That's what I love about Caddyshack.
That's true. It's much more accessible. The most relatable character in this, to me, is probably Will Sasso when he's moving the stuff out of Happy's grandma's house and he can't fucking hit the ball off the tee in his front yard.
Which, that's the most ridiculous thing in this whole movie. You wouldn't be hitting real golf balls in a neighborhood.
Dude, that'd be insane. Like, I don't care how bad you are. Even Banner and I, who never know where the fuck it's going, that actually would be like the worst possible thing we could do. Oh, a bunch of glass and human beings? Yeah, this is a good place for us to tee off.
I think you just hit that house. Oh my god, you hit that guy!
You shouldn't have been standing there!
You shouldn't have been standing there!
And he hits the woman in the fucking upstairs, and she rolls off the roof.
So ridiculous.
Pay the man. All right, that's all I had for Happy Gilmore. On a rewatch, absolutely incredible, and it just makes you miss the Adam Sandler who respected himself comedically enough to like actually do something like this. Because look, we always respect chasing the paycheck on here, but it is sad to see someone. It's like when these great European soccer players come over and play in the MLS. It's just like painful to watch someone who we've seen them in their prime and now they're doing this, but. Matt, this was your idea to do, so
it's
anything
it's very high. Like I really like Happy Gilmore. It's fun to watch. I mean, you could watch it once a year, and like Jeff said, there's so many one-liners, and we've already probably went through 12 characters in this that even if they're only in there for like a scene, like Kevin Nealon, they're just fucking hilarious. Every character you see, a different character is funny in their own way. It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we hardly even talked about the comedic exploits of Shooter McGavin. And, like, him as a villain is just hilarious because he's such an asshole, but he's also, like, just so ridiculous. And he's so scared of Happy, which is really funny, too. Banner, how about you? Anything we left off or anything else you want to say about Happy Gilmore?
No, I think this is Adam Sandler's best movie, and I don't think it's even fucking close.
Wow. Billy Madison's close.
After a rewatch of Billy Madison fairly recently, it's still funny, but it's not.
This, I laugh harder at this.
Billy Madison has better characters, I think, more depth. Or sorry, Happy Gilmore has more depth, but Billy Madison, just the premise of it is fucking, because that's actually realistic. Like the idiot kid that his dad has like. I mean, it's basically like the Jerry Jones like thing. It's like, hey, you don't have any way to run a football team, but you're my son, so we'll figure it out.
Yes, 100%. Banner, I can't remember. It was you, me, and Thurman in the Adam Sandler movie. It was worse movies, though, wasn't it?
I wasn't on that.
You weren't?
No, that was you, Thurman, and Geiger, I think, right?
Oh, well, never mind then. But it was his worst movie, so I guess then. This would not have gone in the draft. So forget I even said that. I would say
I don't
we'll
know.
edit this out.
Thurman did say the Beatles were overrated, so he may have said Happy Gilmore sucks.
Thurman needs help. We're trying to get him checked into a facility, but apparently there's not a facility for bad music taste to check someone into. I've been doing a lot of internet research. All right, without further ado, our top 3 sports movies, and then of course we always have honorable mentions because we can't just whittle it down to 3. Let's start with number 3 on each of our lists. Banner, what's your third favorite sports comedy movie?
Let's say A League of Their Own.
Interesting.
I really like that movie.
It's a great.
It is
film.
really good. Tom Hanks kills it too.
For Matt to compliment Tom Hanks, you know it's good.
Yeah.
They haven't always seen eye to eye.
It's a little bit of a... I think it's funny. I think there are a lot of funny parts. I don't know that you could call it a comedy, but I felt like I could put it on here, so I did.
Tom Hanks is in a comedy in it. Like, the story's kind of serious, but he's...
Yeah.
That scene where he pisses for like 7 minutes is one of my
Oh my
favorite
god,
movies.
so funny. It's like in a drinking
Rosie
fountain.
O'Donnell's counting it. She's like, that counts.
And of course, one of the most famous quotes of all time. There's no crying in baseball.
Roger Hornsby is my manager. He called me a talking pile of pig shit. That was when my parents drove all the way from Michigan to see me play the game.
Matt, what is your third favorite sports comedy movie of all time?
Let's just kick it off with Caddyshack. This movie is fantastic, man. And you got Chevy Chase in his prime, Bill Murray in his prime, and Rodney Dangerfield in his prime. You're not even talking about Judge Schmelz, who's also just steals the show in this. So many, you're talking about one-liners. Rodney Dangerfield just fucking throws them out. Like,
how do you get those
candy.
3 in their prime in the same movie?
What's that?
What?
How do you get those 3 in their prime in the same movie?
It's insane, man, for sure. Especially having Chevy Chase and Bill Murray in the same movie, who I guess hated each other. And once again, man, like I said, of all these sports comedies, any one that you'll name, A League of Their Own, I guess, well, it was still professional. Most will be about professional or college. This is about the everyday man just like us. The people that work, and then when they have time, go to the golf course and play for money. And, you know, they're not, you know, Ty Webb's good. Like, some of them are good at golf, but they're not anywhere close to professional. It really hits home with, you know, the country club hackers like, you know, me and Thurman and stuff. This is a great movie.
An interesting thing about Caddyshack is Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, I know, share one scene. Chevy Chase and Dangerfield share one scene, but for the most part, those 3 guys are holding court, but they're really not in it much together at all. Which is
no, I mean, Chevy Chase and Dangerfield team up at the end, but they're not really like, they're brought together kind of at the end. It's more about kind of Judge Schmelz is kind of the star of the show, which he is fucking fantastic in that. It's just as the country club snob, and it's a great movie. I consider it a notch above Happy Gilmore, even though I hold Happy Gilmore in a very high regard. But this is actually a golf movie. To be honest, Happy Gilmore after a while gets kind of out there. Like, this could actually happen. Like, all of this could happen.
That is true.
100%.
My number 3, I know Matt and I are both big fans of this film. And as I was just looking through lists of sports comedies, it was impossible for me not to put this one on here, and it might surprise you, but Blades of Glory from 2007.
It's a fantastic movie.
Will Ferrell and John Heater. I mean, let's not even discuss Will Arnett, who has one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard about their parents. Remember how our parents used to be alive? But the scene where Chaz Michael Michaels is at sex rehab and he's about to be kicked out again. What's the line, Matt, where the guy's like, Chaz, I've asked you to leave before.
And it's Luke Wilson, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's like,
I've asked you, I don't want to do it again. He's like, Taylor, come on, man. It's like, just give me this one.
Taylor, that's right. He's like pushing it a little too far. He's trying to like fuck some chick there.
It's like,
that's when she walked in with 4 drums of commercial lubricant and a monkey who was trained to work on a camera. And again, it's incredibly outlandish. Like, even for the world of figure skating, it's absurd, but I love it. And surprisingly, I hate John Heater in everything, including this movie.
But he was made for this.
Oh,
this
yeah.
was his role.
Craig T. Nelson in this, just like probably having no idea what he signed up for, but he shows up and he's coach, dude. It's fucking great.
Jenna Fisher's good in it too.
Oh yeah. The flying lotus move that like one of them might slice the other one's fucking head off, but they have to try to execute it to win.
He shows him the move, like, and the one guy, because he that's what got him kicked out of figure skating, and he's just like, listen, I figured it out though, guys. Like,
but then they keep slicing the mannequins' heads off. It's like outlawed in 32 countries or whatever. And then Mr. Feeney, of course, is the head of the IOC who like won't let them back in. It's incredible.
if you think we're stupid, go watch that movie again, because you probably haven't seen it in a while. It is absolutely hilarious. Best quote on that is when they're doing the background thing, and Chaz Michael says, "Troubled childhood? Well, if you call being an 8-year-old kid with a 35-year-old girlfriend troubled."
Yeah. And then he wears like that weird shit to bed, and he's like, "Why do you wear that to sleep? The night's a very dark time for me." Well, it's dark for everyone, not Alaskans and dudes with night vision goggles. It's like, what? All right, my number 2, we'll just go round robin. Celtic Pride from 1996. Oh. Great fucking movie, dude. Dan Aykroyd and Daniel Stern, and of course Damon Wayans. And the plot, if you've never seen Celtic Pride, it's incredible. I wish it would be remade. 2 Boston Celtics fans in the 96 NBA Finals, when the Celtics are playing the Jazz, with their team down 3-2, decide they need to get drunk with and kidnap the Utah Jazz's best player before Game 6 in Damon Wayans. And that's basically the plot of the movie. They're like Bostonians with no fucking life outside of Boston sports. One of them's a plumber.
So basically every Bostonian.
Kind of, yeah. One of them's a plumber going through a divorce, and I can't remember what the other one's equally as pathetic. I can't remember. It's just hilarious. Everything about it. I think the concept works. Like, imagine if they did that now with like Steph Curry or something.
I'll tell you, man, I haven't seen that movie since I was probably 7 years old, and I don't think I was old enough to appreciate it. In fact, I know I wasn't. I need to watch that, because that sounds hilarious.
I think you'd fucking love it. It's really good.
Have you watched that recently?
I saw it like 2 or 3 years ago, and it holds up. Like the night that they're at the bar, I think Dennis Scott is Damon Wayans' character's name. When they're at the bar and they're like, "Oh my God, that's Dennis Scott," and they realize like he's killing the Celtics, they're gonna lose. There's no chance. So they hatch this plan.
Okay, we'll have a better defensive scheme. No, that ain't gonna work. We're just gonna have to capture him.
Right. And then when they kidnap Dennis Scott, he starts like calling them out on how pathetic their life is, and they're like, "We matter. I'm important." Celtic Pride from 96. Geiger, what's your number 2 favorite sports comedy?
I love this because I don't think any of us will have the same movies at all. My number 2 is Basketball.
It was an honorable mention for me.
Basketball is fantastic. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
It's so fucking good.
That's another one, kids, I bet you haven't seen in a very, very long time. And this is Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I mean, maybe off season 2 or 3 of South Park. And they're just slackers that aren't good at anything, don't have jobs, can't get chicks. They go to their high school reunion at this chick's house. Everyone makes fun of them because they're still just drunk idiots from high school. And they make up a game, which is basically basketball, horse, baseball. And then they turn it pro, and then they get big heads, and they get sponsorships. It's like The Naked Gun, but with sports.
Mm-hmm.
Or Airplane. Actually, David Zucker is part of it somehow, who did both those movies. Fantastic, though. Worth a rewatch. And it's got Yasmin Bleak, who I think was always the sexiest person in Baywatch. She's hotter than Pam Anderson.
Was this before or after the South Park movie? Bigger, longer, and uncut?
Oh, way before. I think it was Orgasmo, then the South Park movie.
But South Park had started, right? Because I remember...
oh, yeah, because he did Cartman in it.
Matt Stone does the Cartman voice, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is... Because there's like a... I don't exactly remember because it's been like 15 years. But there's a rule where like your guy who's on deck can like distract the other person or something.
It's called a psych out, Jeff.
Yeah, there's like literally a designated circle where the guy stands to just try and fuck with the person shooting.
I love when they're at the high school the party or whatever, and the hot chick's boyfriends are of course extremely athletic, and they're trying to teach him how to play, and they're just making it up as they go along. The one guy misses and he tips in like, "Oh, tip in, that's a double play, that's 3 outs." He's like, "What? It's double play, jackass! Like, you know the rules."
Yeah, you fucking suck, so deal with it. Banner, what's your number 2 sports comedy of all time?
I'm gonna go Cool Runnings.
Check out our commentary on that.
Again, it's just I don't know. Maybe both of my movies weren't necessarily because of the comedy factor so far. They're just good all around movies.
Yes. I love Cool Runnings. I don't think of it as like a laugh out loud comedy, but I won't say a bad thing about it on this podcast.
You can't say a bad thing about it. Right? It's a great movie. I think Sanka is probably one of the funniest supporting actors in any sports movie.
I was going to say, you remind me a lot of Sanka. I mean that as a compliment.
I only take that as a compliment.
Best quote of the movie, Sanka, you dead, man? Yeah. What does he say about is it Sweden who does the Heinz Finds Drines?
Yeah.
What's his diss about them when they're at the bar?
I don't remember, but that bar fight scene is so much fun too.
I do love the dude who's like their Matt Geiger, like their bobsled enforcer, who's only like, why do you need an enforcer in bobsled?
What did John Candy do to get kicked out?
He put weights in the front of the sled to make it go faster.
Okay.
Which is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that that's just one thing you don't do. That's like talking about a perfect game.
Can't do it. All right, Banner, back to you. Your number 1 sports comedy of all time.
Dodgeball.
Mm.
I mean, again, you got Ben Stiller with the mustache, as we talked about earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of Vince Vaughn's, maybe other than The Breakup, probably his best movie.
I mean, Wedding Crashers, obviously.
Well, okay, yeah.
And Matt and I, it's slept on how funny Vince Vaughn is in Old School. Yeah, from the guy who probably won't even get in. Did I go to school here? Okay.
Okay.
He's such a dick. It's weird in this because Vince Vaughn is like not an asshole, but he's still funny.
Yeah.
He's actually like the opposite. I do have to say that Lance Armstrong cameo all the years later is even funnier, knowing.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty good.
What ended up happening with him. But yeah, Ben Stiller just holding court. I mean, and Justin Long actually is pretty funny in that too.
I was gonna say this is a strong one from Justin Long. Great, Jason Bateman as the announcers.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Bateman, and then the guy who he was the Brady Bunch dad, and he was in Pineapple Express and a bunch of other stuff. What's the other announcer?
He's in Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
What's his name? All right,
What's
I gotta
his
look
name?
him up. Someone at home is like screaming at their.
Cotton.
Yeah, his name is Gary Cole. That guy's great. He's so underrated.
He is fantastic and
he's
everything.
Lumberg also in Office Space.
He is Lumberg.
Peter, what's happening?
We're gonna do Brothology on him. He's in a lot of movies that you don't even know.
Yeah.
Be an interesting one.
Dodgeball's a great one. And I think we talked about this. It was one of our Do You Even Lift Bros a few episodes back, but one of the best uses of a PG-13's one F-bomb in Fuck Chuck Norris. After he gives him the thumbs up to keep playing. Yeah, he will not be able to see very well, Cotton. Banner, our friend J-Bone, remember he always uses the bold strategy.
Bold strategy.
Appears average Joe's is going to forfeit. Bold strategy. Let's see if it works out for him. All right, Geiger, what's your number 1 sports comedy?
So mine's a double feature, if you will, because it's from the same actor who I think we could do another is the greatest sports actor of all time. And that is Kevin Costner in Bull Durham or Tin Cup. You can pick. But they're both fucking fantastic. And we can talk, we're not going to talk about Field of Dreams or For Love of the Game or anything else, or even Draft Day. But I'll start.
Damn, he was in a lot of sports movies.
What I love about Tin Cup is that you have to be a golfer to get 80% of the jokes in that movie, which makes it a golf movie. Like when I watch it with my wife and I laugh about him hitting a 7-iron or him just keep hitting a 3-wood because he knows he can make the shot. She doesn't understand why that's funny. Like you have to be into golf to get most of the fucking jokes in that movie. Even when they're on tour and they're giving each other shit, or the money game, side bets and everything like that. That's what makes that movie so fucking good. When he gets the shanks, like that's not funny to anyone that's never picked up a golf club. But whenever you're playing in a tournament and you keep fucking hosel rocketing your fucking wedge, it's the most frustrating thing fucking ever.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather hit slices into the fucking woods or pull hooks all day than fucking that shot.
It's definitely a golfer's comedy.
Now the second one, Bull Durham, which isn't talked about as much anymore because it's just aged so much. It's, but man, it is, I think, one of the most perfect baseball movies, Jeff, because it actually shows the grind of the road.
Right.
And what they do on the road and how, you come home from a fucking road trip and you're too tired to even have sex with 80s Susan Sarandon. Like, that's pretty tired.
God, yeah. I've never been that tired in my life.
No.
And just and Jeff, you can attest to this, like you're the baseball nerd of the pod, but Ebby Calvin LaLoosh, like, dude, he's a stud, but he just like his mind isn't there yet. He's not ready for the bigs. So he has to have someone kind of just train him just how to, because you can be good enough to be in the bigs, but if you can't handle the day in, day out fucking grind, then it'll fucking wear on you. And he talks about shower shoes, how to do the interviews and all that stuff.
Him shaking off Crash Davis so Crash tells the guy a fastball's coming.
That's one of the greatest.
And the guy's like, bullshit. He's like, I'm serious. I hate this fucking pitcher. It's a fastball middle away. All right. He's like, it's like he knew it was coming. He's like, yeah, he did because I told him.
I told him.
Why'd you do that?
Then when he's just like, man, this kid's got a one-hitter. He's shaking me off. And he just like told him I was throwing the curve. Yep. It's like, yeah. He said, man, that thing got out here in a fucking hurry.
And the hitter's like, I mean, Crash Davis, he's been in the minor leagues long enough. He probably has a reason to have vendetta against this guy.
Once again, too, when you're talking about sports movies with me, I think that they only should be funny for 20% of the people watching them. And those 20% of the people have to have played the sport or are a fan of the sport. Meaning that, Crash Davis, if you're a fan of baseball, you can relate to the person that's like, man, he's good. He just never made the bigs. He's the crafty veteran that knows a lot. Then you got the young stud with the arm, but he just doesn't know how to fucking set up. He doesn't know anything.
Right.
The characters in that are just so fucking good. The guy that does voodoo just so he can get a fucking hit. Like,
he's kind of like a Pedro Serrano before Pedro Serrano.
Oh, yeah. But rewatch that movie as well, too. And I still think baseball movies, and there's a lot of them. We can talk about this later, but this is the most pure day in, day out, Dog Days of August grind baseball movie that they show on the road, at home. They're slumping, they're doing well, they're on a hot streak. Great baseball movie.
Yep. I totally agree.
The Rookie.
Right,
that was another one Kevin Costner was in.
The Rookie? Right? That's Dennis Quaid.
Ah, fuck. Never mind.
My number one, I know Matt's a big fan of this movie too, and I think we actually, one of our really early episodes, Matt had a great a cast for a reboot, but that's White Men Can't Jump from 1992.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all know we're huge fans of Woody Harrelson on the pod. Just the combination of him and Wesley Snipes in this movie. And basketball was my sport growing up. The concept of making a movie around street ball hustlers is just inherently so conducive to being hilarious. And then the only role that I've ever not been annoyed by Rosie Perez in. I mean, you're annoyed by her, but in a comedic and redeeming way. And just her character training to be on Jeopardy is a hilarious fucking trope for a side character. Like, she just watches Jeopardy in their hotel room constantly.
This is one, you're right, Jeff, early. I think you're one of the pod that I made you guys either rewatch or Banner. I think it was a first time watch. I'm like, dude, you guys don't know how good this movie is.
I had never seen it before then.
Right, yeah. Check it out.
Never seen it, and I went back and I watched it. Yeah, it's a great one.
I'll use that sometimes. Like, you can ask Sermon, but when I make putts and stuff, I'll be like Woody Harrelson. Like, I just feel so lucky today. I don't know what it is. Just wake up, the birds are chirping.
And just the way they dress on the court is hilarious. Like the tank tops that cover like 4% of your upper body, and then a Reebok hat with like the brim flipped up.
It's
Like,
it's
what?
a great movie too, and I mean I just talked about Caddyshack, how it was for the everyman. I mean, this is the everyman too. One of the greatest quotes on that is Wesley Snipes when he's like, "Yeah, man, Michael Jordan came to the beach. I took his ass to the hole." He's like, "You should play summer pro." I'm like, hell no, shit might fuck my game up. Like
Might
playing
fuck up my
summer pro
game.
league.
Shit might fuck up my game. Playing in the NBA Summer League? Okay, dude. But we've all met that guy at the college party. He's like, dude, I'd be playing football here, but my coach hated me and didn't send in my
Yeah,
tapes.
for sure.
Whatever, bro. All right, honorable mentions. I don't have too much to say about these. I just wanted to bring them up. And one of these, let me defend it. So these didn't make my list, but they were close. Nacho Libre from 2006 with
So fucking dumb.
Jack Black. So I know you're thinking, that's stupid, man. Jack Black doing that weird ass accent. Have 2 beers before you watch it or be like a little bit high. Tell me it's not the hardest you've ever laughed in your fucking life. It is absurd how stupid it is. It makes no goddamn sense. But it's not so, like, it's not.
It's a fun
stupid.
stupid.
Right. It's not stupid like the Ridiculous Six. Like, it's Jack Black relatively tame, just being crazy. The plot is so insane. He's the chef at an orphanage who needs to make money so he can buy better beans for the kids at the orphanage. So he becomes a luchador wrestler, and he weighs 280 pounds. And then another one, and I actually watched this at your old apartment. The mockumentary 7 Days in Hell.
Yeah, that's a good one.
With Andy Samberg, where he plays the adopted white brother of the Venus and Serena Williams family. And he plays a match that goes into like Deuce 812, and it's a 7-day tiebreaker.
And Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. I know you don't know who that is, but he plays the other person.
Yeah. I didn't notice him not making out with Khaleesi.
And he's in nothing else
I know.
after Game of Thrones. It's weird.
But he's hilarious in it. And the cameos are just all over the place. And Andy Serkis has a cameo in it as one of the announcer guys. He's fucking hilarious. 7 Days in Hell.
Yeah,
But
he's
again,
he's the one that has like the sweater vest over, but only 2 buttons are, and it looks like he's just given up on life, kind of, and just
And he's
drinking
like-
scotch at noon.
he's totally sweating through it.
I forgot about that.
But I will say this: if you don't like Andy Samberg, like if you don't think The Lonely Island or anything is funny, there's nothing here for you. You're gonna hate this thing. It's so absurd. My fiance was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, I can't defend it.
I don't even really understand tennis, so I don't understand if that's like an absurd thing to do
Yes,
to go that long or
it would
not.
be like a game going like 48 overtimes.
Okay, well, I mean, sometimes tennis does take for fucking ever. It seems like I'll
Yeah.
watch it sometimes, but
Isn't there a point where Andy Samberg like has sex on the court?
yeah.
I can't remember how that comes into play. They show it. All right, Matt, what are any honorable mentions you had?
I actually didn't have any. This was a really easy list to come up.
Mhm.
I mean,
Proud of you.
these are my go-to sports comedies. There's other ones, but this is I came up with this in 5 minutes.
I will say the gap between Nacho Libre and 7 Days in Hell and Blades of Glory is pretty sizable. I just wanted to give them a little bit of love. Banner, what are your honorable mentions?
Had to give some love to the Major League series, more specifically Major League 3 Back to the Minors. One of my favorites.
We're huge defenders of that on the show.
Yeah. Just a bit outside.
It's a great 3 is so underrated.
3,
Disgusting.
You
I
want the
would
off-speed
almost argue that
stuff?
3 is the best one. It's definitely my favorite.
Oh, yeah. You want the off-speed stuff? You got anything else? Nah.
Nah.
What does the guy say? Like the radar gun doesn't even register because it only picks up things above 45 miles an hour?
Yeah. They like bought it from the like town down the street, like the police department down the
police
street.
department had like a police auction and they sold it to him.
Yeah, and they said it only picks up things that are faster than 45 miles an hour.
Isn't the premise, Matt, correct me if Matt just left, but the Buzz, which are a real team,
Yes.
by the
Salt
way.
Lake City.
So if they beat the Twins, do they become a major league franchise, or is it just an exhibition game and the manager used to play for the Indians?
I don't remember it at all.
They don't become a major league team. It's just basically they both hate each other. So he's just like, hey, why don't we fucking play each other and see how good you are? Just kind of bragging rights game.
Which great thing
But it's
about
not
baseball
fair because he gets a bunch of major league players to play. Like he gets Serrano and the Asian center
guy.
fielder.
Which normally, like at a minor league team, the organization would be like, we don't fucking want these 40-year-olds. Doesn't do us any good. Anything else, Banner?
No, the only other one that I saw on a few lists whenever you Google best comedy sports movies was Bring It On. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember liking it. I haven't watched it in probably 15 years.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I think to Geiger's point, like these movies will resonate most with the people who played that sport. So like if you were a cheerleader or a competitive cheerleader, you'll just inherently probably find that one way more hilarious.
Well, I forgot. I mean, League of Their Own. Great call out, Banner.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think people give that. I'd have to rewatch it to really hone it in, but I don't think people give it enough comedic credit.
And it's actually a good, like, at the end, it's not a comedy. Like, it's an actual drama, but it's funny. It's like Forrest Gump, basically.
Yeah,
it's hilarious, but it's also a really great movie.
That's a great comparison. You could watch it in the guise of a drama and get a lot out of it, or you could say this is just straight up comedy and probably get just as much. All right, that brings us to the second part of our show, which is our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what's in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Now, Banner, we are recording, like by the time this drops, the show will probably be over. Are you caught up on Bachelor, or should we just skip that this week?
I am caught up. Are you?
I am. I don't have much to say.
Yeah, I don't either, other than Rachel's face got fucked up.
Yeah, so this last episode was hometowns. Matt, obviously you know hometowns where they take them back to see their family.
Oh yeah, I know about hometowns.
Because of COVID this season, they brought the families to the bubble, to the Bachelor bubble. So you kind of lose the experience of like normally the woman or the man if it's the Bachelorette who has him come to their hometown, they have like a big home court advantage, right? To intimidate them, they can take them out to their local watering holes, get all their friends out there. This leveled the playing field, and Banner, I gotta say, I think Matt being the Bachelor, he got let off pretty easy, with the exception of Bree's mom, who, by the way, had Bree when she was 13 years old.
I was wondering because they look like they were sisters.
I mean, Jesus
Are they both hot?
Christ. The mom's not.
No.
So the mom has had 3 failed marriages, and she's now having a kid with a new guy who's out of the picture, which I just think makes her the perfect person to criticize Matt and Bree for perhaps moving too fast. Don't you think?
It just baffles me at like how angry she was getting and how like she being so judgmental about it all.
Matt would say
like you literally have another child that is 25 plus years older than the child you're having.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of insane.
Like literally, Bree could have had 3 kids and like have a successful career and marriage and everything, and her mom is still having a kid. It's like, what's that movie? There's a movie with Steve Martin that happens.
Father of the Bride.
Father of the Bride 2, yeah, and they both have kids at the same time.
God,
wow. How did you think of Father of the Bride 2?
I'm a little stoned. I'm not gonna lie.
You have a lot of information in that brain of yours.
So when you're stoned, the biggest stoner movie is like, hey, you want to watch Super Troopers or Father of the Bride 2?
The second, Father of the Bride, obviously.
Yeah,
I heard Steve Martin has a kid, which is going to just create hilarity.
At the same time as his pop it in, dude, for sure.
Too funny
now, if I haven't seen the first one, am I gonna be confused about what's going on?
Yes, so we should watch the first one first. This thing's writing itself. Serena dumping Matt before the rose ceremony. And Brian, I mean, you might have seen the same signals that I saw, but I was saying he shouldn't have even taken her to hometowns because she wasn't even feeling him last week.
See, I was thinking the same thing, and I don't understand why she's the only one that got 2 one-on-one dates, right? And
And
when they were
she's
together,
not
it looked
ugly,
like they
but
were having fun, but
yeah.
total friend zone, right?
Yeah, and she's not like she's definitely not unattractive by any means, but it's not like she's so hot that Matt's just like every season there's one chick you just want to take to the fantasy suite, and I get it, but let's call a spade a spade. That's not Serena, you know.
No, that's not Serena.
And she was like, even the whole when he got to meet, she just used him to get her family into the bubble. Like, cool, I got to see my mom and my sister, but I'm really not interested in you meeting them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And then I laughed. Sure, I'm going to hell. When Rachel almost died skydiving.
Oh my God, she hit the ground so fucking hard.
So fucking hard. So Matt, one of these dates they went skydiving, strapped to a professional, which is really where I'm like, dude, someone didn't do their fucking job. So Matt lands fine, and then this Rachel chick, I don't know if did a wind gust hit their parachute or
Yeah,
what the
I
fuck
don't know
happened?
if it's that or like, they're supposed to have their feet out if one of them like their foot got caught in the ground instead of like sliding.
No, dude, she fucking slammed into the ground. Like the NFL would have had her out for concussion protocol unless she was like an MVP candidate. Then they would
Yeah,
have let her.
the ground got a flag for targeting.
I love on The Bachelor when they make them do something that's out of their comfort zone, that they're like, well, I got to do it because I got to win this competition. When in real life, you just be like, hey, like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not,
like
I'm not jumping out of a plane for you. Just letting you know. We can do
by
something
like
else.
date. There's a How I Met Your Mother episode about this. How there's like a 2 date limit where like you'll do shit that like you're really uncomfortable with and would never do in real life. And then after that, you're just like you don't pretend to be somebody you're not
So if we
anymore.
were on The Bachelor, me and Thurman could take our wives golfing and make them caddy for us. After 5 years of marriage, I'm like, hey, you want to go on a date where we go golf? You watch me golf? No, that ain't gonna fucking happen.
And she's like, "Oh, what are you, a fucking comedian?" That's funny. But correct me if I'm wrong, Brian. It was her idea to do the skydiving, right?
It was her idea to do the skydiving. Um, I also liked how her face slammed into the ground, and you can tell it's like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Then, cut scene, her hair is all done. She's got all her makeup done. Her cheek looks like a fucking avocado because it's so swollen. The sun is going down. Clearly, it's like 10 hours later. And they're pretending like she has the harness and everything on. They're pretending like they just checked her out real quick and they kept on going.
Well, as they say, like in sports, she went to the training room and they worked on her, gave her some treatment. But fuck coffee, bro. That'll wake you up at 10 a.m.
No kidding.
Slamming into the earth at 60 miles an hour. I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to hell, but we rewound it a few times to watch the impact.
I was a little upset that they didn't give us a slow-mo of it.
Oh man, she really did lead with her face, which is not always the best idea.
The flag.
That's true. All right, Matt, what did you have in your cup? What have you seen?
So last week was Valentine's Day, and we got snowed in for a while. So me and my wife watched Netflix and some romantic comedies. The first one I believe Jeff's seen, and that is The Night We Met. Banner, have you seen this?
I don't think I have.
Think you and Mrs. Banner would like it. It's a fun little flick with Adam Devine and Alexander Daddario. Netflix movie.
And the Stephen Amell's brother, Arrow's brother.
Yeah.
Ravi Amell?
It's basically Groundhog's Day, except Adam Devine meets Alexander Daddario at this Halloween party. Of course, he thinks she's hot and awesome, but he gets put in the friend zone, and now, fast forward 5 years, he's at her basically engagement dinner, and he finds a way to go back in time, and he just keeps trying to do shit differently to try to get him to like him.
Matt, sorry to interrupt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that first night, like they could have hooked up, but something went wrong, right? Like he like fell asleep or like left too early or something.
He just never really he tried to kiss her and she hugged him.
Mm.
So he kept doing shit like differently, and it's extremely interesting. Like one, he just tries to be a douchebag to her, so of course she has sex with him, but then she just treats him as basically a booty call. The other one, he changes his life and goes back to business school and makes a lot of money. So she likes him and marries him, but he gets fat, but she kind of likes this other guy, but she just marries him because he's rich and stuff.
Oh,
And then he kind of finally realizes that he might like somebody else and he should maybe just move on. It's it's funny as shit. I love Adam Devine.
Yeah,
I like him in
he's
everything he's in. I think
underrated.
he's hilarious.
I think it's also a little bit like Click because
Yeah.
like he gets to see some of these realities through a little bit further. But one of the things that I was kind of surprised about, we always talk about the Netflix original movies being trash. When I first saw the trailer for this a few years ago, I was like, this is masquerading as Netflix trash. And then I watched it and I actually liked it more than I thought I would.
Can we stop saying that we hate movies like Groundhog's Day? Because the last two we watched, Palm Springs and this, we've absolutely loved.
Yeah. I think that we can agree, though, instead of saying like, oh, you ripped off Groundhog Day, that's a genre of movie, right? Like the time loop. Let's just admit it.
Sorry to I need to restate that. We love Groundhog's Day. We just hate movies that basically just piggyback off of it.
Right. But there is a lot to do in that genre.
Yeah.
I guess it's
There's a lot of comedy that could happen.
100, and that's why Palm Springs was so creative, because doing it where you're reliving a wedding is just conducive to a whole another hilarious set of comedic situations. Which, like when he asks if he can, and I hate to get us off topic, but when he's like, "Can I cut in with the bride's first dance?" And I'm like, "What? What's that one called? The Night We Met?" I forgot.
The Night We Met.
Okay.
The last one I'll talk about, and this was what we watched on Valentine's Day. So this movie I kind of remember came out in 1998. Taking consideration, I think I was like 6. No, I was 10. Sorry. So I wasn't, going to Blockbuster looking for a movie to watch with a chick, so maybe I can get a blowjob quite yet. That was maybe 6 months later. But this is on Netflix. Can't hardly wait. Jeff.
Oh, wow.
Jeff, not another teen movie, which I brought up in a protein shake like weeks ago. The chick that whenever that she'd come into the party and the music would play and they're like, no one can move until she, I didn't know what movie that was from.
They're like, ever. Wait, she's not done, because like people want to continue their conversation.
Yeah, he's like, God, that took forever.
They're like hater for it.
No clue what movie that was from. And then when the kid wrote her a letter and she gave him a hand job or whatever, I was like, I've never seen that movie. So this came up and I just looked at the cast. I'm like, let's watch this movie. It's a fucking 90s rom-com with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Let's just go down this cast. Banner, you'll love this. Ethan Embry from Vegas Vacation. He was Rusty. Seth Green as like Jamie Kennedy from America's Most Wanted. Let's see. Jamie Presley, who I absolutely fucking love. Jason Segel as the watermelon guy. When he was on set, I guarantee you Ethan Embry is like, dude, I don't know who this guy is, but there's no way he'll be bigger than me in 5 years. No way. Sean Patrick Thomas. Donald Falzon from Scrubs and Remember the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
And Selma Blair. And also, damn it, Jeff, who's the guy from Road Trip? The main guy who's also
Jeff's taking a piss.
Okay, he's also in
the
Franklin
main guy
Bash too. Chris,
it's a ton of people. When did this come out?
98. Chris Owen, who was the Shermanator in American Pie.
American Pie. So this was like right at the cusp of all these people like emerging.
They weren't even big yet. The biggest ones were Jennifer Love Hewitt and I guess Ethan Embry. I guess.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Sorry, I'm getting it. Breckin Meyer. That's who I was thinking of. And he's also in Clueless. So Breckin Meyer and the guy from he's also in Clueless too, and Scrubs, the black dude. Mm-hmm. So they're in a band, Banner, and Breckin wants to dress like the Beatles because that's what he thinks his band should be. And the guy from Scrubs is the drummer and he wants to dress like a cowboy. So they the whole fucking party like break up and stuff. So basically, what this movie is about is Ethan Embry is in love with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt was a new chick in school, and he wanted to meet her, and he knows everything about her, but of course she falls in love with the popular jock. Well, the last day of senior year, the popular jock dumps Jennifer Love Hewitt because he's like, I'm gonna get all this ass in high school. Why do I need her? So it's the end of high school party, your senior party basically, and he's gonna tell her how he feels and writes her a letter. And the whole party, he's trying to give her a letter, and there's a bunch of other high school kids from the 90s that you fucking see. It's actually a pretty good movie.
Huh.
I
What's
did
it
find
called?
it. I can't believe I've never seen it before. I can't believe I've never seen it on TV before.
What's it called?
Can't hardly wait. It's on Netflix.
And it's on Netflix.
Yep.
Interesting. That's crazy because all those people were huge in like I would say 2000 to like 2004.
Yeah, some of them are kind of still big now. I don't know what happened to Jennifer Love Hewitt, but I mean,
Yeah, I don't. Did she start doing like a TV show or some shit?
I think so. I think she's still big into
Yeah, I
something.
think
don't
she's
know.
on like some show on like CBS or something.
She's gorgeous. I mean, Seth Green's not around anymore. Ethan Embry's not around anymore. Jamie Presley, she's in a show, I think. Jason Segel's the biggest one for sure. Selma Blair isn't around anymore, really. Breckin Meyer's not around.
No.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. But yeah, you should watch it. It's pretty. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was really good.
It's on Netflix.
Yep. Liv Tyler is in it for a second. Everyone from the 90s is in this movie. This is
Would
this
that,
movie,
would that have been right before or right after Armageddon?
This is before Armageddon? Yeah, before. I think Armageddon came out in like 2000.
Okay.
Banner, this movie is basically the Oklahoma City Thunder when they had Russ, James Harden, and Kevin Durant all on the cheap because they're all in their like rookie deals. Like
And
they got
Serge
all these
Ibaka.
actors on the cheap because it's before they fucking made it big.
But they actually won something.
What's that?
But they actually won something.
Yeah, I guess if you want to call this movie winning, I mean it's fine.
It's harmless, right?
It didn't hurt me.
Am I up?
Yeah.
No, I think I'm up. I'm
Okay.
up. We'll start with I am still going through my quest of Star Wars in chronological order. Watched about 3 seasons of Star Wars Rebels. Good, not great. Not as good as I remember it on my initial watch of it. I don't know if it's just because these are unfamiliar characters to us, but Clone Wars was 1,000 times better.
Really?
Yeah. And I like Rebels, but I'm not as invested in it, I would say.
Got it. How many Rebels is? Did that end? I feel like one of them.
Yeah,
was
it
still
ended. We had 4 seasons of it.
Okay. And that's basically what, right? Is it before A New Hope?
Yes. So this is before A New Hope. This is them creating the rebellion. So they have, obviously, the Empire's taken over in all these different systems and on all these different planets. They have like people that are rising up against the Empire. And this is about them trying to connect all those rebel cells together to one big rebellion to fight the Empire, which obviously ultimately results in Rogue One and A New Hope and so on and so forth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's the one. Freddie Prinze Jr. does a voice in that, right?
Yes, he plays Kanan, which he's probably the best character, the most compelling character in the whole show because he was a young Padawan that survived Order 66 and has been hiding out, for all these years until they come across Ezra Bridger.
I'd have to double check it, but I saw there was a fan cast of Ezra in, I don't know. It's not worth bringing up, but
No.
it seemed valid. But he's not that popular of a character.
He's
I guess.
fine. He's okay. He's kind of like a fucking punk douche little kid.
Who isn't?
Yeah.
So what's next on the quest?
So once I finish Rebels, then I'll go into Rogue One, then the original trilogy, then we get to, I believe it's Mandalorian, and then there's actually a Star Wars Resistance, which is another animated show.
Oh yeah, that animation looks like shit though.
Dude, I've already tried to watch it once, and it was really fucking hard to watch. It sucked.
If you somehow get through that, then
Like,
good on you.
at that point, I will be like 200 hours of watching in. Of course, I'm going to get through
After
it.
you do that, they should give you like a free weekend stay at Disneyland or something.
I'll tell you, there are times where it's exhausting. I've been doing it since November.
God.
God bless you.
Yeah. I have a problem.
And you know what the great thing is, Jeff? No one asked him to do it.
He's like, you don't need to ask me to do it. I know you want
Like
it.
literally no one at all.
You know what, guys? I'm a team player. And the best part about it is I got Thurman doing it with me.
I was gonna say you're not in alone, at least.
Thurman needs to go back to the office.
I mean,
It's
he
too much
needs
time
help.
on his hands, on his couch somehow.
All right. Anything else, Ben, or you want me to jump in here?
I can go on. I can do another one here real quick.
Okay.
Rewatch Wreck-It Ralph. It was. I like it. I like it a lot.
I don't think I've seen the second one.
I think I've only seen the second one once, but we watched the first one. Jane Lynch, John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman. If you told me you put all three of those in an animated movie, I would tell you it was going to be awful. But it's not.
Have you seen the second one?
I've seen it like once, I think. It's
The
the one where
first
they
one
go
is
to
the
the
one-
internet, right?
Is the yes? Is the first one the one with the Stan Lee cameo?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I like more.
Yeah.
That's one of the Disney princesses, right?
No, that's the Disney Princess is the second one.
Oh, then never. I'm getting them blurred. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
No, you'd know if you just saw it.
Maybe it doesn't have the yeah, it's not that one. I know what you're talking about now. I thought you were talking about the arcade owner. He kind of looks like Stanley.
No. But now I'm getting confused. Forget everything I said. This is a miserable contribution to your protein shake.
Yeah, it's fine. Wreck-It Ralph. If you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. What's next, Jeff?
All right, I'm going to run through these pretty quick. Obviously, watched Happy Gilmore. Listen to Chest Day. Fast and Furious 6, third best Fast and Furious movie, was on FX. Watched the last 40 minutes. It's absolutely incredible. The Fast and Furious movies, if you're wondering in order, they go Fast 5, the original, and then Fast and Furious 6.
Then Tokyo Drift.
Right, then Tokyo Drift, which is actually, if we want to do a commentary before the Fast 9 comes out, that's next on the list, because Matt and I have already done 1 and 2. So feel
down.
free to... Yeah. You know I love Tokyo Drift, unapologetically.
I'm a
Literally.
believer now.
Literally never seen it.
You was an army brat. So fucking good. I watched at Cycly's behest. If you go listen to episode 143, he saw this, but it's a 4-part Netflix true crime doc called Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel.
I watched that as well.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's talk about it then. So spoilers, skip ahead probably 2 minutes. Tap the forward button on Apple Podcasts like 3-4 times. So Banner, I think one thing that's really interesting about this, and Matt, I would actually like to get your take on this if you ever go back and watch it, but this documentary in 4 parts gives you what happened with the crime to conclusion, the conspiracy theories about the hotel, but then my favorite part, and I think something that no true crime doc is acknowledging, is how these fucking internet sleuths are a lot of times just pieces of shit really getting in the way of law enforcement.
Yeah.
Right.
They're always made out to be the heroes.
And they're usually neckbeards who live in their parents' basement. And In this case, like ruin a guy's life.
Literally ruined his life.
Like accuse him of killing this chick, and he's like, I was literally in Mexico when this
Okay,
happened.
so I'm interested in this because everyone thinks that, man, our legal system sucks, which I'm not a fan of our legal system, but our legal system sucks. Thank God for the internet because they're solving all these crimes.
Oh
And I
no.
always thought, I was like, wonder if it went the other way, though. Like, where the internet calls for this person to be like, hey, and then I'm like, actually, that's not the facts at all.
I can't say this without like spoiling the ending for you, Matt, but there are things about the crime that get revealed, and some of these internet sleuths, when they're put on camera, they go, "This doesn't make sense to me. There's a conspiracy," and I'm watching it by myself. Like I can explain this to you in 3 seconds. It's that fucking simple why this happened. Banner, you know what I'm talking about? Based on like how something is discovered.
Yeah. They're
Just try and turn everything into a
they
conspiracy.
try and turn everything into a thing.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. One thing I did like though is some of the internet sleuths for this particular case that they interviewed after the fact and were like, "Hey, here are certain facts that you had wrong." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I have zero ground to stand on now." And
Yeah,
he
but
actually admitted he was wrong.
and that's great, but the damage is done when you accuse a guy of murdering someone and he has to go. He tries to fucking kill himself because of it, and he
That
wasn't
was
in the
super
country.
fucked up. I felt really bad for that guy. Now, what he was, the music he makes and everything, it's
Yeah,
fucking
that's a
weird. That's a whole nother discussion. But
They go, well, you could have killed her. You were at the Cecil Hotel on February 13th, and he's like, 4 years earlier, like not even the same year that she was there. Oh well, that doesn't matter.
you just stayed there that long.
Yeah, but Matt, I think you'd like it because the whole last part and a half basically discredits internet sleuthing. Like
Okay.
people that think that's their job, they make them look really pathetic and damaging to our society, which
I
I'm
want you to know
starting
if you're a neckbeard listening, like some of us still like you, so don't unsubscribe. We're losing Jeff. If we lose everyone from fucking England because of Thurman and neckbeards, we're not gonna have anyone left listening to us.
How many people does Henrik know that he can get to subscribe to the channel? That's what it comes down to.
Hendrik probably likes the Beatles. We probably pissed him off.
Yeah, he has good taste. He probably does like the fucking Beatles. Last thing I watched, already added this to the Broskers for 2021. Netflix original movie called I Care a Lot. I'll pitch it to you guys this way. My girl Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl. She plays a woman with a business where she extorts rich old people by getting appointed by a crooked judge to become their legal guardian. And because and then she either doesn't let their family involved in the will, or she sells all their shit and basically just makes a fuck ton of money off of these old people who they call cherries. Old people that have a disease or something where they can't take care of themselves. And so the court has to appoint a guardian for them, and then she just ends up making money off them. The plot gets really interesting though, where she finds a woman worth millions of dollars who has early onset dementia. She becomes her legal guardian, puts her in a home. She's about to make a ton of money off her. And the woman is single, never had any kids. All of a sudden, some weird shit starts happening, and she realizes that Peter Dinklage is a son of hers that she never knew existed, who's actually in the mafia, and is now trying to get her out of custody. And so the rest of the movie is just
what?
It's crazy. And I will say there's at least 3 things in this movie. It's hard to surprise me nowadays in film. At least 3 things happen where I was just like, what the fuck? Did not see that coming. It's a drama, thriller, comedy. And Peter Dinklage is insane in this. And Rosamund Pike channels her Gone Girl character, which is creepy and oddly arousing to me.
Mm.
I Care a Lot. It came out on
Okay.
Friday on Netflix. Very interesting movie. All right, that's all I got. Anybody else?
I'm done.
Watched the first 40 minutes of Infinity War. So
where'd you end? They just got pulled up in the ship, Stark and Strange?
No, I got past. Maybe it's more than 40 minutes. I got to the right before the Battle of Wakanda.
Oh, damn. That's like
Yeah.
an hour 40.
Yeah, I guess I got pretty far in it, but my mom and dad decided to go through. They had never seen the MCU movies. They'd seen like one or two here or there, so they decided they were going to watch them all the way through. And talking to my mom, she liked Endgame. That was her favorite one. And I said I liked Infinity War better, so I had to go back and watch it.
Interesting.
What did she think of Age of Ultron?
I mean, she's in my court where Ultron is still alive.
I mean, most people are in your court, Banner.
Geiger, the
Jeff's
worst
the
part
one in
is,
the outside in the cold.
I'm not,
Just
though.
pick
Listen to our
Just pick a sign.
Listen to our WandaVision reviews. I'm back in Banner's court, bro. We might see Ultron this Friday.
God damn it. I hope so, because then I can't remember what commentary that was on. We'll have to bring that back, kind of like the Game of Thrones when Banner said we'll never get a White Walker dragon.
Previously on the Broforce Squad.
And I had to shove that down his fucking throat until he choked on it. This is a lot of fun.
Jesus.
No.
All right. Anything else? Oh, that brings us to the last part of our show, our question and answer segment. Do you even lift bruh? Where we ask a question and we leave you with it. And today could be historic because we're resuming the Broforce Squad Trivia Showdown, where each member of the Brain Trust, that'd be the three of us, ask a trivia question to the other two members. The first person to collectively get 10 points or 10 trivia questions correct gets to pick the next movie commentary for the podcast. And tonight, the updated standings in terms of points are myself in last place, or third, as I like to call it, with 5.5 points. Banner in second place with 7 points. And Geiger in first place with 8.5 points. And again, 10 is the number to reach, so he can close it out tonight. Brian, why don't you start us with your 2 trivia questions? And let's see if this thing ends tonight or if we will all both live to fight another day.
All right. We'll go Matt first. You guys know I love themes. So theme tonight is Adam Sandler in respect to Happy Gilmore. Matt, how many movies has Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore done together?
Wedding Singer, The 51st Dates, and there's another one. I think there's 3.
You are correct. Wedding Singer, 51st Dates, and Blended.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blended. Yeah. Oh my God.
No one saw it. They didn't
Terry
even watch
Crew.
All right, Jeff. This one, I'm not gonna lie, this one's a little harder, and I apologize. But I think you'll get it right.
You say that every week to me, doesn't he? It's such bullshit. Who bought
Pretty
Hans
hard,
Zimmer
but I think
lunch?
you'll get it. Don't worry.
Who bought Hans Zimmer lunch while he composed the Interstellar sound score? I'm like, what?
You got it right.
Jeff Rigsby. Who's that? It's just I don't even know.
All right. Jeff. Over under 45. How many TV and film projects has Adam Sandler's production company, Happy Madison Productions, produced?
50% chance.
Is there a way you can tell me when they started producing things? Because I want to say it was like 03.
That sounds right, but if you give me a second, I can look it up.
That's okay. You said 45?
Yeah.
You might be Vegas. It might be 45.
I feel like this is a sucker bet, but I'm
So
going to take
either way, you lose.
What if it's
They
a
were
push?
founded
You'd be a
in
suck.
they were founded in 1999, if that helps.
I'm going to say under, man. That'd be more than 2 a year. Even with this Netflix deal, I don't think we're there. I'll say under.
It is over. They had 45 movies. They have done 45
With
movies
Grandma's
and
Boy.
7 TV shows.
Isn't like the Animal and the Rob Schneider ones? Aren't those Happy Madison?
Yeah. So the first one they ever did was Deuce
Probably
Bigalow,
bench
Male
warm.
Gigolo,
That's actually a pretty good movie.
Little Nicky, Joe Dirt, The Animal, Mr. Deeds.
God, they did Joe Dirt. Wow.
There's a Joe Dirt sequel that was straight to video also.
They've actually done some decent movies.
Yeah, but the problem, like, at this point, like, if you look at the whole filmography, it's like 20 of the 45.
Judge me by my winners, Jeff. Judge me by my
Judge me by-
losers, because I have
because
so
I have
few.
so few. Uh,
Okay,
all
my
right.
turn.
Yeah, go for it, Matt.
All right,
So just
mine are
to
both
update-
Happy Gilmore.
Sorry, Matt. Matt got the point, so he's up to 9.5 here. So if you answer mine correctly, it's over.
So mine are both Happy Gilmore. Banner, I'll start with you. So with the Bob Barker scene, Adam Sandler actually wrote letters. And the reason Bob Barker's in it, because he was the only one that wrote back that, yeah, I'll be in your movie. The one letter he wrote that he really wanted the person to be in for the Celebrity Pro-Am was this, like, historic late-night talk show host. So I'll give you, here's multiple choice. It's either Jay Leno, David Letterman, Johnny Carson, or someone else I can't think of. So those three. Who did Adam Sandler write? I think like 5 letters to, and they didn't answer back. But he did write Bob Barker, and he answered back to be in the scene.
I feel like it was Leno.
Johnny Carson and actually Ed McMahon wrote them both.
Yeah, both of those.
Ed McMahon? Really? Why the fuck would you want him in the movie?
He wanted both of them in there, and he wanted Johnny Carson to fight him.
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool, but 98, don't you think, like most people... Bob Barker was more of the time. He was actually... Johnny Carson wasn't on Late Show.
I was going to say, I don't know that I would have recognized who Johnny Carson was when I was that age. But Bob Barker spans so many generations.
Yeah, I wouldn't have changed anything about the movie.
All right, Jeff. In Happy Gilmore, there is actually a professional golfer in it.
Yeah.
And he is the guy that always gives the look and shakes his head.
Oh, yeah. Lee Trevino.
Okay. I didn't even know he knew who that was. I was going to give you multiple choice.
I love Lee Trevino.
A Texan,
horrible
too,
actor.
I believe.
The scene... I don't know what the scene is where Happy's at his apartment and he looks out and Lee Trevino is inexplicably outside. I'm like, why is Lee Trevino...
Why is he... How did they get him to do that movie?
I don't know. They were probably like, and you just need to shake your head. He doesn't have a speaking role, right? He just shakes his head twice.
The one time he shook his head when he was, cussing, he's like, sorry. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But the one time he's just outside his apartment when he, threw Chubbs out the window.
Like, what was Lee coming there to, scold him for the way he acted on the course?
I need to YouTube that to see if Trevino's done any interviews talking about that movie.
I mean, he was a really quiet. He was a really good golfer.
Major winner.
My grandpa was huge fans of him and Gary Player, so I know all about Lee Trevino.
Oh yeah, Trevino's great. Cool.
All right, you guys ready? Now, because Geiger's about to win, I'm going to give him the harder question. Hopefully, you guys didn't peek at the bottom of the show notes where mine are. All right, Banner, you're up first.
Okay.
How many Meet the Parents movies does Owen Wilson appear in as Kevin Raleigh?
Ooh. I know he's in the first one. Isn't there 3 of those movies?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Pretty sure there's... Fuck.
Could be 4.
I'm going to say 3.
3 is correct. He appears in all 3 of the movies. Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers.
The one he plays the flute
Fockers.
at the wedding, doesn't he, or something?
Yeah, and I think he actually is in Little Fockers. He is the godfather of their kids, and Greg doesn't like it because obviously he's fucked his wife before. He's like, this is a weird arrangement. All right, so 1.2 Banner. That brings you up to 8, Banner. So if Geiger doesn't get this, you got a shot next time we do trivia.
That's right.
All right, here we go, Geiger. In TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze, Geiger's a good start. In the opening scene, Keno, our favorite pizza delivery guy, rest in peace, gets told to, quote, dream on, dweeb, end quote, by 2 chicks he tries to hit on. Complete his comeback sentence, starting with, quote, okay, but when I do, I'll what?
Dream of someone prettier or something like that.
Close.
Dream of someone hotter.
Dream
No.
of
Geiger.
it was
Banner, sorry.
I'll dream of someone thinner.
Correct. For
Oh.
half a point, Banner gets it. He goes, okay, but when I do, I'll dream of something a little thinner.
That's a good
Fucking
comeback.
Scorched earth roast. But then nothing diminishes the burn when you drive off on your moped with Domino's pizza in the back of it. If it
That
were
you're
a
about
Harley,
to deliver to a sewer.
Remember when Domino's was actually, he looked forward to it?
yeah, and because it didn't mean you were just crying yourself to sleep that night in your 1-bedroom apartment. Brandon Routh is like, it's not that bad a life, guys.
He's like, they've actually upgraded their sauce. It's better now.
It's sad if you eat it enough that you can like taste
But it's
it.
not, though.
But it's not. What's the line in Wedding Crashers? We're not that young.
We're not that young.
A couple of young guys trying to keep it honest. Like 41. All right, guys. Before we let the people go for episode 144, Banner, any closing thoughts or just the usual?
The usual. Pull over for emergency vehicles. You never know who's in the back of that ambulance.
Very well said. Geiger?
You can't say that Hollywood's going sequel crazy or remake crazy until we have a remake of The Rock starring The Rock. We haven't gone far enough.
Hollywood's like, would you pay $5 to see that?
I would pay $100 to see that. Where instead of Sean Connery, it's The Rock starring in The Rock.
Banner's just asking, does it mention Jungle Cruise? Because that was my most anticipated movie of the year.
Hey, it was.
How
Still
how we didn't finagle him off the pod after saying that is beyond me. I can't believe.
That's honestly like the most disturbed I've ever been on the history of the podcast in 5
He
years.
needs help.
I have a problem. We all know that.
Even Emily Blunt is like, what about this? Looks good to you.
Look, I have a problem. You know that.
Is Kevin Hart in that too?
I mean, not like in the trailers, but if you don't think he's going to pop up,
Okay.
I'll bet you a beer he shows up in.
And why is The Rock like a Carnival? Why is he a Carnival Cruise? Like why?
Does he look like anything but a boat captain? Come
Yeah.
on.
When does he have time to work out?
Look, he's
We've
pulling the
had
lines.
this debate.
Okay.
We've had this debate so many times. He's a zoologist that also can deadlift 680
It makes
pounds.
no sense. I mean, even Wahlberg, when you talk about his workout, they're like, "So what do you work out?" You know, he's like, "Well, I always work out, but if I'm playing just a regular guy, I'll just eat beer and pizza so I don't get too ripped and stuff." The Rock doesn't. He's like, "Yeah, I'm playing a doctor in the ER, but I'm going to take a bunch of steroids and work out a ton." Makes no fucking sense.
I don't understand the problem, personally.
All right, for the enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, and the mad scientist, Brian Banner, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek, and we are the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you find your podcast. If you type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words, and check out everything that we post, all of our content, and our squad blog, which I think you'll like, on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, something about The Rock. He's probably in this podcast. Who knows?